pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome everybody in to Sim Racing Media, home tonight once again to the Western States Racing League. This is their penultimate race here from Avondale down in Arizona. We are at Phoenix Raceway, and you guys are looking to wrap up practice here. Got just a couple minutes, so while we're doing that, talk about what happened last week. Last week, we were in the dirt in the trucks at 60 laps at Eldora Speedway. And the man who won is the man, I know you guys have heard me say it repeatedly here, the road course ringer. Well, Christian Bishop kind of made a liar out of me last week as he was able to lead all 60 laps on that dirt surface there. Winning the race by almost 0.3 of a second there over Andrew Schulte. And then Mike Fisher was back in third, about 7.5 seconds back. Ryan Steele fourth. Lyle Swearingen rounded out that top five. So as we go from there, let's jump in, look at point standings here. So with only 2 races left, Ryan Steele took the points lead with 632 points. Jeff Schmeier up at 618. Jeff Hollinsworth fell back a little bit there, sitting in P3. Brian Barnes in 4th. Wayne Hutchinson 5th. Dennis Fuson up 1 position to 6th. Bentley Glazer down 1 to 7th. Charles Woods back there as well. Just inside the top 10, we've got Kyle McCartney and Ross Rollins rounding out that. So, as I said, these points will change because they do have a couple drop races that they get to do. So, the points will adjust depending on how many bad races or what bad weeks the selected drivers had. Looks like they're just about ready to wrap it up right now. Bentley Glazer is the fastest in practice with a 27:34. We'll see if he will be able to duplicate that on his qualifying run. So after we close out Phoenix here, they have a bye week next week for Memorial Day, and then come back to close everything out in the Xfinity cars at Las Vegas on June 6th, set for 107 laps there. Race tonight is 125 laps. A temperature right now is only 77 degrees. Track temp 82, so not too bad. So it's not going to be that hot and loose that we usually see when people talk about coming to Phoenix. But should allow the cars to have a little bit more grip. You guys are back in the cars after having 2 weeks in the Truck Series. Phoenix Raceway. Originally basically designed for open wheel cars. Inaugural NASCAR race came there in 1978. But now they're pretty much one of the only ones to run there. They're multi-level series. They have a pretty big road course right through the middle of it. And the oval had that closed dog leg. Now it's back to open, so you'll see guys working their way through, and you can see it kind of at the top of the screen right now. That's where the dog leg is, and you'll see them basically come off the racing surface and cut that dog leg to try and take the shortest way around the track. But when you do that, you'd never know if somebody's going to let you up. So we'll see what these guys elect to do on their qualifying run. Looks like we have a few guys out. Looks like Justin T. Wilkinson is out on track. Started his first lap here. What he can do. Got a 27:68. I haven't seen race here before, or at least not in a while. It's Matt Schlossler. 27:65, and Bob Beltrami jumps up with the 27:64. Chris Samard completed his lap with a 27:57. Wayne Hutchinson completing his 2 laps at 27:91. Got Paul Krumrie out on track now. As he cuts that dogleg, tries to get every bit of ground he can. Make it into that turn 1. First lap for Krumrie is a 28:02. like he'll call it good with that. Carl Burke completed his second lap with a 28.23. Dustin Burns out with a 28.31. Jeff Hollinsworth making his way around the track here. What time he can get. Down to the inside, going to try and hold as much speed as he can. Slides up the track just a little bit. Top of the board with a 27.54. So it looks like Dennis Fuson working his way through his lap here, coming down that long backstretch before you get into turn 4 as you kind of break off into the start finish line there. Dennis Fuson, a 27.58. We got Justin Michael here. See where he puts that 87 Toyota. Didn't like his run there, so he backed it off. So we'll see what happens here with Timmy Bates. Ooh, into that outside wall, so that lap is not gonna count. Like Earl Weaver's done. Justin Michael trying it again. Didn't start his qualifying lap, so. And like he's loose again. Like Carl Burke's just logging some laps here. New driver out on track. Bentley Glazer. A white number 20 Chevy. No decals, no nothing on there. Gonna start over again. You guys are trying to get that one lap perfect so they can get that better starting position. So waiting on a couple drivers here. We got 18 qualified. Glazer makes it to that start finish line. Going to start his lap here. Cutting that dog leg. Sliding up almost towards that outside wall to try and get a better run into the corner. And he will do that. He's fastest early. Let's see how he makes it through this last section here. Start finish line. Up there at P1. Bentley Glazer with the 27.20. Top of the board by 0.35. Wayne Fleet completed his lap at 28.04. Butch Davis just threw down a time of 27.49. So he's got that thing sitting just outside row 1. The Barry Phil is on track. Ryan Steele. Ryan Steele just put down a 27.55. Good enough for row 2. Jeff Schmeier starting his lap momentarily. For turn 4 here. Slides up, trying to get as much speed as he can. And that gives him a 27.41 outside row 1. Just barely in front of Butch Davis there. Barry Phil coming into turn 3 and 4 here. See if he's gonna see what time he's gonna throw down as he gets right up into that outside wall. See if it's gonna be able to count that lap. Looks like it did not, because he got into that wall a little bit too much there. Andrew Schulte in that 81 Chevy completed his first lap. Good enough for P4 right now, 27:53. Chad Stearns a 28:41. Looks like everybody else is. See who hasn't went yet. Got 26 with a recorded qualifying time. We got a couple guys that didn't get a qualifying time but put in the effort. Justin Michael, Lyle Swearingen, Timothy Bates, Fred Williams, and Barry Phil. We've got James Durer, James Campbell, and Brian Van Cleve that did not put down a qualifying time. So that will do it for qualifying. And we will get set for the grid here. Get these guys into their cars and we'll see what happens here. Set for 125 laps. Got 4 sets of tires, 1 on the car and 3 in the pits. So we will see how this is gonna set up momentarily here. We got Bentley Glazer and Jeff Schmeier, row 1. Row 2, gonna be Butch Davis and Andrew Schulte. Row 3, Jeff Hollinsworth and Ryan Steele. Row 4, Chris Simard and Dennis Fuson. We go back to Brian Barnes and Charles Woods in row 5. Row 6, Bob Beltrami and Matt Schlossler. Justin T. Wilkinson and Chad Simpson. In row 7, row 8, William Fletcher and David Weaver. Wayne Hutchinson and Earl Weaver in row 9. Row 10, Paul Krumrye and Wayne Fleet. Julian Ricci and Carl Burke in row 11. Row 12, Dustin Burns and Dan Brasington. We go back to 13 is Chad Stearns and Javier Torres. Justin Michael, Lyle Swearingen. We got Timmy Bates, James Durer, Barry Phil, Brian Van Cleve, James Campbell, and Fred Williams. So that is the field. As we get set to roll off of pit lane, Bentley Glazer will lead them to the green flag with that dynamite lap he threw down in qualifying. One thing interesting there about Phoenix is you see where the pace car already pulled off. So the leader has them in control for all of this backstretch, all the way around here, till they get right to this restart zone as you're coming off of, we'll call it 3-4 here. In the restart zone, Bentley Glazer down and away. Gets a huge jump up there, cuts that corner like we were talking. He is out to 0.3 of a second lead over Jeff Schmeier. Butch Davis back in third, Andrew Schulte, Jeff Hollinsworth, and Ryan Steele. And it looks like Dustin Burns has went around, and we are under caution here. Let's see what happened here with Dustin Burns. I think it's towards the back of the pack here. Trying to cut the corner. And the 05 of Chad Stearns gets into him. And just nothing he could do there. Let's take a look here. Take a look from the nose here of Dan Brazington. Just gets ran right into nowhere he could go. So we are under caution almost immediately here. And that's the thing about taking that dogleg. You go and cut it. Nobody has to let you back in. They have the place on the racing surface. They don't have to slide up towards that outside wall. And as you saw there, Chad Stearns thought about cutting that dogleg. Didn't really do it the way almost everybody else does. Tries to get back to that racing surface and gets into Dustin Burns there. They will stack them up here once again. And we'll see what happens here. I believe because they didn't make it a full lap on that initial start, they're going to wind up starting single file. Still on the pace car. So the fastest lap recorded here in the NASCAR Xfinity car was a 27.234 by Justin Allgaier back in 2018. These guys ain't got quite that much speed, but we'll see. Maybe by the end of it, Bentley Glazer's going to be able to throw down something pretty close, as he was lightning quick earlier. Lights are out on the pace car. Looks like we are single file restarting here. So that's only going to go to help Bentley Glazer get back that lead he had before. Maybe it'll settle everybody down towards the back of the field. And we've seen a few guys that got maybe a little bit too carried away when they were speeding their way through there. Pace car is in. Bentley Glazer has the field under his control here. It's coming towards that restart zone. Down and away. Out to 3 to 4 tenths of a second gap there. You see Jeff Schmeier cut that dogleg way further than we saw almost everybody else do momentarily. Jeff Hollinsworth and Ryan Steele battling side by side. Hollinsworth on the outside. Ryan Steele slides up in front of him. And now you have Chris Simard down to the inside of Hollinsworth, going to try and make that pass there as well. Brian Barnes was closing in pretty quickly there as well. You see Simard cut the dog leg, but not quite as far as we saw some of the guys go in practice. Guys in practice were coming out almost on pit exit there. So side by side they go, Simard and Hollinsworth. Looks like Hollinsworth got that car back under him. As I'm looking through the field here, the fastest lap is actually ran by James Campbell with the 28 flat right now. He's up 7 positions from where he started, looking to close in on Javier Torres and Timothy Bates there. And just in front of them, we got Lyle Swearingen, Wayne Fleet, Justin Michael, all battling it out. Looks like Swearingen probably didn't have the qualifying lap that he wanted earlier. He is now up 8 positions, sitting just inside the top 20, and now sets his sights on the number 3 Chevy of Paul Kermerai. Looks like Justin Michael kind of settled her down a little bit. Like he was trying to do maybe a little bit too much in that qualifying session, trying to get the most out of that 1 lap stint he had there. Like everybody back here's kind of settled it down. Let's go back up towards the front. We see if we got Jeff Hollinsworth and Ryan Steele. They settled it down. Hollinsworth behind Steele. And it looks like almost everybody's pretty much not electing to cut that dog leg too much anymore. Because it seems like the way Glazer's been running, he's staying just outside of it, not cutting it quite the way we've seen before, trying to use more of the racing surface. You see him go down there, just barely cut it. Jeff Schmeier stays right in his tire treads there. Butch Davis not far behind as well. Andrew Schulte staying there. So the top 4 are still the top 4. Only real switch here is Ryan Steele and Jeff Hollinsworth swap positions. Then you go back to Brian Barnes and Dennis Fuson swapped one as well. Lyle Swearingen is still moving forward. He was able to get past Paul Kermerai, and now he has his sights set on the 46 Chevy of Earl Weaver, and David Weaver just in front of him. So here they go, trying to close that in. As I look back through the live scoring here, looks like Brian Van Cleve, after getting involved in that early lap 1 incident, elected to call it a night. James Doerr, Fred Williams, and William Fletcher all did not start. So that leaves us with a field of 30 on track right now. Bentley Glazer leading them by over a half second. Jeff Schmeier back in second. Butch Davis and Andrew Schulte are going to have a battle shortly as Ryan Steele is starting to close in as well. So this battle basically between 3rd through 7th is getting pretty hot here. But with 125 laps, there's plenty of time. Make your way through this field here. Butch Davis just in front of Andrew Schulte there. On board with Schulte now, looking at the back of Butch Davis. You see the different lines that both of these guys are taking. Andrew Schulte gets almost to that outside wall. Basically stays right on that racing surface. Goes down, kind of touches that yellow line there to the inside. while Butch Davis cuts it just a little bit and then gets back up onto the racing surface. But they're running relatively similar lap times. Last lap for Butch Davis was a 28:31. Andrew Schulte, 28:28. Andrew Schulte stays down lower as they come towards that start-finish line. Now Butch Davis elects not to cut that corner. You can see these guys just sliding up and down. See what's going on here. We got Timothy Bates, Paul Krumrei, Chad Stearns all battling towards the back of the field. James Campbell's up 9 positions. Lyle Swearingen up 11. Currently sitting P17. Justin Michael up 9. Both those guys are working their way through the field. And we have a caution. Let's see what happened. Looks like it was towards the back of the field here. Take a peek real quick. Javier Torres. Like he comes down. Wow. I don't know what happened there. Like he was driving and all of a sudden the car just came out from under him. So that will bring a few guys to pit lane. Bentley Glazer, Jeff Schmeier, Andrew Schulte, Chad Simpson, Matt Schlossler, Justin T. Wilkinson, Julian Ricci, Lyle Swearingen, Justin Michael, Dan Brazington, Chad Stearns, Paul Krumrei, Timmy Bates, Dustin Burns. Oh, let's see them cycle through here. Butch Davis elected not to pit and now has track position. Bentley Glazer pitted and is now sitting in P15. So now this is going to set up the race to be a little bit different here, as we've got the guys basically in the top 14 that haven't pitted, so they're on old tires. And they were already running kind of towards the middle to back of the pack. I mean, the top 4 were running inside the top 10, but you've got Bentley Glazer, Jeff Schmeier, Andrew Schulte. Those 3 guys sitting in 15th, 16th, and 17th, which have had the fastest cars we've seen on track most of the night. So as they work their way through the field, we will see if they're able to maintain that speed they had before. Like they're getting ready to stack them up momentarily. Here. what's going here with Barry Phil. See if we can take a look here. Looks like he's got some damage on the front of that board there. Banged up there. Probably leading to a little bit of his problems he has. Butch Davis has the button, has the field under his control, making his way down that long backstretch without that pace car in front of him. Coming into turn 3 here. Hits the restart zone right as it gets to turn 4. Slides up in front of Ryan Steele. Tries to make the most of it. As you see, Brian Barnes cut that corner as much as he could. And he is trying to gain a couple positions just inside of Chris Simard. Ryan Steele on the outside of Jeff Hollinsworth. Side by side they go. And Brian Barnes working his way up as well. They're still side by side. Looks like Hollinsworth just was able to clear Steele there. And we are under a caution once again. Looks like, see who that was here. Looks like it was maybe David Weaver. Back and take a look here. He was in the pits here. Oh, there we go. Andrew Schulte. Gets a little loose on exit, stacks up the field, but it looks like everybody pretty much avoided him. So that was some heads up driving by everybody around. Take a look here. See here. Get the nose here. Matt Schlossler. He's sitting right behind Andrew Schulte here. Andrew Schulte gets that wheel just below that yellow line, spins around, and look at how close that was for Matt there. Able to miss him. So that will stack up the field here momentarily. Like, might shake up the pit stops just a little bit here. As Jeff Hollinsworth came in, Brian Barnes, Carl Burke, Wayne Fleet, Andrew Schulte, of course, came in. So that leaves Butch Davis, Ryan Steele, Chris Simard, Bob Beltrami, Dennis Busan, Wayne Hutchinson, Charles Woods, all on those old tires. Bentley Glazer is now sitting in 8th position. See how they start them up here. See if they were able to complete that lap before that caution came out. Looks like they did, so should be a double file restart. Lights are still on the pace car. Guys back going momentarily. Butch Davis will lead them to that green flag. Pace car should be diving in momentarily here to get to that long backstretch. Jump on board real quick of Butch Davis. Makes his way into turn 3. And he'll hit that restart zone right before turn 4, basically. He is on the gas. It's right up in front of Chris Simard there. And there they go, back to almost single file racing. Chris Simard, Ryan Steele, Bob Beltrami, 1, 2, 3, 4. Dennis Busan holding on to 5th. Wayne Hutchinson is up there, and Bentley Glazer just slides to the outside and gets going. Oh, around goes just... Ooh. Say Justin T. Wilkinson, but that was after the fact. Looks like Chad Simpson went around first. Back that up just a little bit here. So he goes down into the inside of Charles Woods. Looks like Jeff Schmeier saw him coming up, tried to get out of his way. Matt Schlosser just to his outside. Earl Weaver behind him. Staying good so far. Like Charles Woods slows down. Chad Simpson tries to check up just a little bit. Oh, gets into the side of Schmeier. And Schmeier into Matt Schlossler. That is where it ends there. All right, so I don't believe we completed a green flag lap that time. So as these guys are doing this, we're going to step away for a moment, pay some bills. Once again, this is Sim Racing Media and the Western States Racing League. I am Mike Demoni, and I will be back momentarily. All right, we are back just under way here again on lap 35. You guys get that battling out, back and forth they go. We've got Chris Simard, Butch Davis, Ryan Steele. Ryan Steele able to take that lead. Butch Davis not giving it up that easy. He's trying to hang on just down to his inside. Don't look now. Bentley Glazer up to fourth, down to the inside of Chris Simard. And here they go, battling it out. Bentley Glazer just is a little bit faster. We'll see if he's able to make this corner. And he does. So Bentley Glazer up into third, looking to the inside of Butch Davis. Bob Beltrami as well. Bob Beltrami cuts that dog leg like the most we've seen tonight. Bentley Glazer battling Davis for second, and he clears him. Davis slides up behind him, and we are racing now, folks. Bob Beltrami in fifth, up 6 positions at the moment. Even the guy sitting a couple spots behind him, Wayne Hutchinson, is up 10, sitting P7. Justin Michael and Lyle Swearingen, we've talked about them a couple times tonight. Both of them, Justin Michael up 18 in that 87 Toyota, Lyle Swearingen up 18 in the 68 Chevy. Well, up front, Ryan Steele leads the race. Bentley Glazer cuts that dog leg. Going to see if he's going to be able to get enough speed to pass Steele, and he does. Side by side they go down that back stretch. Glazer just in front. Glazer clears as they come towards the start-finish line here. Glazer back out front. Didn't take him too long. Took him about 20 laps with a couple cautions mixed in there, and he is back to his half-second lead. Ryan Steele, Butch Davis, Chris Simard, Bob Beltrami, all working hard to get a little bit of ground here. See who that was that got loose. Looks like it was Matt Slosher. Chad Stearns got Kern there. Let's take a look, see what happened. Oh, Weaver into the wall. Carl Burke was trying to get through there and didn't quite make it. It looks like Timothy Bates didn't see him and ran right into him as he was spinning down that backstretch. So here we go again. Lap 41 of 125. Bentley Glazer last pit on lap 20. Ryan Steele, Wayne Hutchinson have yet to pit. Butch Davis in, Chris Simard in, Bob Beltrami, Charles Woods, Dennis Fuson, Jeff Schmeier, Justin Michael all in as well. Look here. Looked earlier, but let's take a look again. Looks like he still has some of that nose crumpled up there. I'm gonna check that outside wall a little bit there. Yeah, probably get his lap back here and then duck into pit lane, see if he can get that fixed. Here we go. Yep. Comes down pit lane. Take a look. See if he's going to get that nose picked up here momentarily. still there, so. If he's going to be able to beat the pace car out before they get going again. Like it's going to be pretty close for him to get out of there. Going to be back a lap down after getting his lucky dog even. Spent some time in there getting that 99 Ford fixed up. Pace car is in. Glazer has the button, leads him through 3 and into 4. That tail end of that restart zone, and we are back under green. Bentley Glazer out to 4/10, almost 5/10 of a second lead already. Ryan Steele stays on the track. They are bottled up behind him. Looks like Andrew Schulte able to make his way back up inside the top 10, and everybody is around. Butch Davis, Charles Woods, Jeff Schmeier. See what happened back here. Oh, that dog leg there got everybody caught up in it. Barry Phil giving a little tap there to Jeff Schmeier. So as you see here, James Campbell comes up, checks Bob Beltrami into the wall. Then you got Butch Davis barely brushing with the 04. Chris Simard back there as well. Charles Woods. Charles Woods bounces off and comes back on the track with Davis, hits Schmeier. Weaver gets by, but the 29 there of Dan Brazington does not. Barry Phil goes into that outside wall, hits Schmeier. Schmeier flips over onto his lid and rolls back to his tires here. Well, here we go again. All right, we're probably close to 50 laps in once we go back to green flag racing here. Ryan Steele and Wayne Hutchinson have yet to pit, like everybody else has. I know Ryan Steele is a legend when it comes to fuel savings and fuel strategy. Able to eke out a couple wins on that. I mean, he is the points leader right now. Once I get one more to green. And these guys race a ton here on Sim Racing Media. This is a little out of characteristic here for these guys. Imagine this second half of this race. We're going to clean it up, and it's going to be a lot of green flag racing here momentarily. Got several different pit strategies at work here. Bentley Glazer hit it on lap 20. Got a couple guys like Andrew Schulte, lap 26. Chad Simpson, 31. Go Bob Beltrami, Justin Michael in lap 41. Jeff Schmeier, Charles Woods involved in that caution there on lap 46. Several different options going. There's a single file restart. Bentley Glazer has the button, has the field under his control. Makes his way down that long backstretch here at Phoenix Raceway. He is looking to get as many points as he can. See if he is able to climb the standings even just a little bit. And we are back under green flag racing. Glazer out to a half-second lead already. Ryan Still, Matt Slossler side by side for second. Wayne Hutchinson not going anywhere either. Back through the field, we got Jeff Schmeier backing up just a little bit as there's a huge pile up there with Wayne Hutchinson or Wayne Fleet, Charles Woods, Dustin Burns, all kind of basically slowing down almost to a crawl there for a little bit. But everybody stays out of each other mostly, and we stay green. Got some lap traffic. Oh, Dustin Burns into that outside wall. And back in front of the remainder of the field here. Look at Dustin. Jump back, take a look here at Dustin Burns. Gets loose. Looks like he has it back under control. Then gets a little help from Wayne Fleet and Earl Weaver. Earl Weaver into that outside wall in front of Butch Davis. So Butch Davis, after pitting, has been involved in a few of these back half of the field incidents. So we will see if they can get this back underway here. We're lap 54 of 125. Bentley Glazer back up front. Getting closer to that halfway point. Ryan Still, Wayne Hutchinson both have not pitted yet. Here we go. Getting the one to go this time by. They were able to lead a lap so we can get stacked up here. Lights are out on the pace car. Like we were able to get a lap completed. So they will stack them up. So Bentley, Glazer, Ryan, Steele, row 1, Hutchinson, Foster, row 2, Schulze, Swearingen, row 3. We'll see if Glazer's able to get that huge restart he's been able to get once they are single file. Ryan Steele looking just to not make too many mistakes here. They finishing pretty well so he can drop his worst races here. Bentley Glazer in that restart zone, down and away. Gets a huge jump. Looks like Ryan Steele was late to the party there. As Matt Slosser's up to second, slides up in front of Steele. And just behind them, looks like Swearingen, Hutchinson. Everybody were almost 3 wide for a little bit. Chad Simpson falling back just a bit. Paul Krumrei out there as well. Chad Simpson trying to get that 42 back towards the front. Lyle Swearingen is putting in dynamite work here. He's up 22 positions, sitting P6 right now. Wayne Hutchinson up 12. They're still side by side back there with Chad Simpson, Paul Krumrei, and like Justin Michael on that high side. Michael's been running a little bit different line than a lot of these guys. Almost more of an oval there when he came to that start-finish line. Down to the inside of Chad Simpson. Looks like he's going to be able to get that position from Simpson. Paul Krumrei slides in front of Brian Barnes. Bob Beltrami off the outside wall, gets into Hollinsworth, and around they go, and we are under caution once again here. So here they go, coming through the corner, heading to that back stretch. Bob Beltrami just gets into that outside wall, slides down, and hits Hollinsworth. And there they go around. Then you have Meyer just able to get through. Looks like Carl Burke got clipped. Butch Davis just a little bit. Charles Woods was able to get around. So getting closer to halfway. Should be halfway by the time we do hit the green flag here. Now everybody has went down pit lane. Ryan Steele and Wayne Hutchinson both elected to come down that time by. Do have a few guys that have elected to call it a night. Brian Van Cleve elected to call it a night after lap 1. Timothy Bates and Chad Stearns after lap 39. Like we have Barry Phil, Javier Torres, and then Brazington all sitting on pit lane at the moment. Torres has been there for a little over 3 minutes. Brazington about 12. So we'll see what they're gonna do here. Looks like Jeff Hollinsworth called it a night after that. Elected to not get bounced around anymore. Who makes it back out on track? Like Paul Kermry and Dustin Burns were in the pits getting their stuff checked out and are going to be back on track. So from the 30 who took the green flag, we are down to 23 on the lead lap, 24 on track at the moment. The lights are out on the pace car. They are going to stack them up here. So speaking of these cautions, it's one of those things, if you hit that outside wall, there's only one place to go, down to the inside, and you have barriers on both sides. I mean, you do have, 3.5, 4 lanes, basically, but still not a lot of room to get around without hitting the wall or another car on track. So here they go. Blazer leads them to that restart zone here. He is down and away as soon as they get to it, out already to 0.3 of a second lead. Meyer, Schlossler, and Simard all behind him. Simard stays up on track, and they are single file racing up front. Carl Burke up 17 positions, sitting P5. Dennis Fuson. Then you go back and you have Swearingen and Steele battling a little bit. Andrew Schulte down to the inside of Swearingen. Justin Michael just behind them. Schulte and Michael burst onto the scene here and have been doing very, very well here in this Western States Racing League. Look forward to see what these guys can do next year if they're able to run a full circuit. Probably be up here battling for a championship. You never know, especially with the quality of field these guys put on. Dennis Fuson hanging tough there just to the outside, just in front of Lyle Swearingen. Golta's still battling there, slides to the outside. Gonna try and oval that corner just a little bit more. Ryan Steele slides up in front of him. And Carl Burke sitting just outside of Ryan Steele, and now Andrew Schulte as well. Andrew Schulte down to the inside, side by side. They go down that backstretch. But Burke has a little bit of a run, and he will stay right to his outside. But Schulte closes that gap coming through 3 and 4 and is now up in front. Lyle Swearingen follows him through as well. So now Carl Burke is hemorrhaging positions just a little bit here as he's lost 3 or 4 within the last couple laps. Justin Michael now down to his inside and has a little bit of a run. Coming through 3 and 4. And up front here we got Ryan Steele and Chris Simard battling as well. Schulte cuts the dog leg, gets in front of Swearingen, and we are 3 wide. Steele, Schulte, Swearingen, Chris Simard all battling off back there. Steele down in front of Schulte, trying to get past Matt Schlossler there. And he will do that. Andrew Schulte down to the inside, cutting the dogleg once again. Side by side, Ryan Steele and Schulte. Everybody gets through. Chris Simard in that outside wall, clips Justin Michael and sends him through the field there. Take a look here. But Chris Simard down, closing, and just barely clipped that wall. Sent Justin Michael down. Carl Burke, nowhere to go. Tried to avoid him, going full speed there. Not much doing. So that will change the complexion of the race just a little bit here. As now Bentley Glazer is in the pits. Fossler, Simard, Wilkinson, Fuson, Beltrami, Weaver, all in there as well. We are over halfway through. See who's able to get back on the lead lap with this lucky dog here. Like it's the 04 of Dustin Burns. That car is beat to all heck right now. You can see no front bumper, hood all damaged. He is still hanging in there, hanging tough, is Dustin Burns. Jeff Schmeier has the lead now. Last pitted on lap 46. We got some guys behind him. Looks like second through about ninth. Last pit on lap 59. Then you have the guys that just pitted now. Bentley Glazer, Dennis Fuson, Chris Simard, Bob Beltrami. Here we go, getting ready to go. $71 laps of the scheduled 125. Still have a little bit of time here. Good to go. One thing cool here about Phoenix, they do have that cactus there that will tell you, or will show what color the flag is. When the pace lights go off on that pace car, lights go off on the cactus until they get back to green flag racing. Then it turns back to green here. So here we go once again. Jeff Schmeier with the button this time. Ryan Steele just to his outside. Schulte and Swearingen back into row 2, row 3. Chad Simpson, Wayne Hutchinson. Schmeier gets a huge jump. Out to 0.3 of a second lead. Andrew Schulte slides up behind him. They are side by side with Chad Simpson and Ryan Steele. Ryan Steele gets a little bit better run off, but you have the FBR teammates there, Swearingen and Simpson. Swearingen just gets a little bit better run there. We're under the yellow flag once again here. See what happened here. Looks like James Campbell, Justin T. Wilkinson. Looks like Campbell slowed down to avoid Wayne Fleet, and Wilkinson just barely touched him and sent him around. Doesn't take much in these cars. So as they pace through these last here, we're going to go ahead and step aside, and we'll be back momentarily. Once again, this is the Western States Racing League live on Sim Racing Media. We'll be back momentarily. Pace car is in. Single file restart once again is in effect. Jeff Schmeier, Andrew Schulte, Ryan Steele, Jeff Swearingen, Chad Simpson. Top 5 here. Schmeier down to turn 3. Headed to that restart zone. He's down and away. Andrew Schulte stays with him relatively close as both of those guys cut that dog leg. Ryan Steele stays up on that racing surface and stays in third. Lyle Swearingen, Chad Simpson trying to battle their way up towards the front here. Wayne Hutchinson up 11, sitting P6 right now. Looking back through the field here, Bentley Glazer is back inside the top 10 after pitting on lap 69. So we'll see if he can work his way through this lap traffic here. As I said, he's been the fastest car on track for most of the race. His fastest laps of 27.61. Everybody else is pretty much, or 27.54. The closest one's a 27.61. So everybody else is in the 0.8s after that. So he should be able to make pretty quick work of a lot of these drivers here. Past Ricci there. Back up front and check out the battle up front there. Jeff Schmeier, Andrew Schulte, Ryan Steele. Like we had a couple other guys call it quits that time. Justin Michael, Carl Burke. Like 21 on the lead lap at the moment. Andrew Schulte is trying to make that pass for the lead. Meyer, Schulte side by side, and right behind them, Ryan Steele and Lyle Swearingen side by side as well. Steele gets a better run off of the corner. Coming down that backstretch, he will take that spot. Meyer and Schulte battling out up front. Schulte has the better line. Ryan Steele almost had to check up just a little bit in order to maintain the line he wanted to run, which opens the door for Lyle Swearingen to battle back down on that inside. Side by side they go, coming to that backstretch. We've seen it all night. That wall just comes out of nowhere and grabs some people. Bentley Glazer now up into 7th. Looking at 6th, Wayne Hutchinson there. And Glazer takes it like he was standing still. Now, his sights are set on Chad Simpson, but Lyle Swearingen and Ryan Steele are still battling just in front of them as they settle it down just a little bit. Single file line through the front 4 at the moment. Everybody spreads out when they come to that dog leg, and then they get back in line once again. Ryan Steele keeps running just a little bit different line, tries to oval it a little bit more when they come through that start-finish line down to the inside of Schmeier. See if he's going to be able to make that pass. Cuts that dog leg. Doesn't really gain much ground there as he's still side by side with Swearingen. Swearingen and Steele have basically not left each other's door for 5 or 6 laps now. As now Swearingen dives to the inside, is going to try his luck on Jeff Schmeier. Gets about a half a car length, starts to slide up the track just a little bit. Jeff Schmeier maintains his speed. We'll see what happens once they exit that dog leg as the 04 kind of gets in the way of Swearingen there. Which will bring Bentley Glazer back to that back bumper of Lyle Swearingen. Glazer up to 5th. Swearingen up 24 positions from where he started. Has that 68 Chevy on rails right now. Bentley Glazer slides up the track. Going to try his luck a little higher there as he arcs that corner just a little bit more. Down to the inside goes Glazer. Swearingen sees him there. Stays up a couple lines. Glazer still cutting that dog leg more and more. He is coming through almost pit exit. But while all that's going on, Andrew Schulte is starting to drive away. He is out to 0.8 of a second lead right now. Meyer and Steele. As we went up front, Bentley Glazer was able to get around Lyle Swearingen there. Back through the field just a little bit as we see Ricci and Bob Beltrami battling out just a bit. You can see when they come off of turn 2 there, when they head down that back straightaway, everybody is getting a little bit loose the longer they're driving these cars here. we got a 5-car battle back here between Ricci, Chris Simard, Brian Barnes. Looks like Wayne Hutchinson's back there now as well. Kind of settle it down just a little bit. Bob Beltrami down the inside of Hutchinson. Side by side they go. Beltrami has the better run coming off. Cuts that dog leg. He's going down almost as far as Glazer does, but not quite. But he gets that run, and he gets the position. He's up to P8 right now. Jump back up front. These guys have kind of settled down here just a little bit. Like Bentley Glazer's not really closing in too much on Ryan Steele. So we'll see if Andrew Schultz is going to have enough fuel to make it. Bentley Glazer probably will. He pitted on lap 69, but Andrew Schultz pitted on lap 59, so not quite sure how much of a fuel run we'll have. And I don't know that anybody else driving is 100% sure as well, because we've had way too many cautions for them to get that dialed in and know exactly what they need to make it to the end here. But Andrew Schultz is out to over a second over Jeff Schmeier, Ryan Steele, and then Bentley Glazer's about 0.3 back from Steele there. Like we've got 22 cars on track right now. 2 of them are a lap down or multiple laps down, and we just had another caution. Take a look here. Like Barry Phil gets to the outside, cuts the corner way too much, gets spun around. Single car incident. Everybody's able to avoid him as he makes his way to pit lane. Ooh, gamesmanship there. Jeff Schmeier tried to wait as long as he could to leave Andrew Schultz sitting high and dry as the only one who didn't pit, but that was not the case, as Schultz was able to dive down inside of the cone there and make his way down pit lane. See who's going to be first one off here. Oh, Andrew Schultz gets out just in front of Jeff Schmeier. Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele. Earl Weaver and Wayne Fleet both hit pit lane. Matt Slosser is going to be leading the race here. We did just enjoy our longest green flag run there. Had some heck of some racing there. Looks like he's coming down pit lane right now. Not sure if I understand the strategy there, but just wasn't able to make it to pit lane that time, or just can't quite have enough fuel to make there. Oh, here we go, stacked up and ready to go. Working lap 100 once we get that green flag. Got 21 cars on the lead lap. Andrew Schulte with the button as they head into 3, coming out into 4. Hits that restart zone, and he is down and away. It's a pretty good jump. Cuts that corner. But Bentley Glazer stays right with him. Glazer's not giving him any room right now. And Schulte's only out to 0.3 of a second lead. Fire back in third, Ryan Steele, and then we have a huge battle here with a huge wreck. Ryan Steele involved. Let's see here. Oh. Ryan Steele started sliding. So did Lyle Swearingen. There is nowhere for them to... Whoa. Wow. Lyle Swearingen got shipped off into Never Never Land there. Ryan Steele slid around. Here the tires start sliding right there. Ryan Steele does the same thing. That is it. He is gone. That's not something Andrew Schulte wanted to see now that Bentley Glazer is going to be just his outside. We'll go ahead and step aside for our final break and bring you the last of the action here from Phoenix Raceway. Again, this is the Western States Racing League on Sim Racing Media. And we are back underway here at Phoenix Raceway. Bentley Glazer did not get the start he wanted on that restart. Andrew Schulte shot out to a pretty decent margin, but Jeff Schmeier has maintained his back bumper view there. So these three, Schulte, Schmeier, and Glazer, been pretty much the fastest three most of the night. Back and look through the field just a little bit. Chad Simpson, Chris Sumard up there inside the top 5. Like Dennis Fuson is battling Butch Davis. Butch Davis sideways, gets into Charles Woods, into that outside wall, back across the track, and that is going to bring out another caution here. Looks like maybe a little bit of net code there, bounced around just a bit. And that is... like I said before, that is not something Andrew Schulte wanted to see. All these restarts here have got to be nerve-wracking for that 81 Chevy there. Guys, stacked back up. $16 laps to go here. That'd be about 14 when we take that green flag again. Lights are still on the pace car. Andrew Schulte looking for win number 2. Like Bentley Glazer as well. Jeff Schmeier. The top 3 guys are all looking for win number 2 here in the Western States Racing League. Season 48. Pace lights are out on pace car. Andrew Schultz will lead them to start finish line here. Take a look on board here. See just how long that backstretch is coming into turn 3. Right on that restart zone, he took off, and you can see kind of how rough that track is there. As Bentley Glazer's battling Jeff Schmeier side by side, and Chris Simard and Chad Simpson are side by side as well. Bob Beltrami is up into 6th, Brian Barnes in 7th. And here they go down that backstretch. Still side by side is Schmeier and Glazer. Schmeier gets a little bit better run coming off of 4, and he's gonna take P2 right now. Andrew Schulte out to almost a half-second lead over Schmeier. Back behind these guys, Chris Simard and Chad Simpson battling side by side. Bob Beltrami looking for a way to get through there, trying to get up onto the podium here. Brian Barnes, Dennis Fuson, Paul Crumright all back in the back trying to work their way through this traffic here. Schmeier and Glazer trying to battle it out here to see who's going to be able to make up some ground and catch Andrew Schulte. The more time they spend battling each other, the further and further Schulte gets away. Glazer down to the inside. Side by side they go through 3. Meyer carries a little bit more speed as he takes the outside line on the corner. Glazer cuts the dog leg and is going to try and make up ground there. But it looks like it's still side by side for Glazer and Schmeier. Neither one given an inch. Schmeier almost gets to that outside wall. Glazer jumps up behind Schmeier, going to try and have Schmeier drag him around for just a little bit here. See if that can help his run in any way as he stays right behind Schmeier. Now he goes to the outside. Schmeier blocks up high. Back behind them, we got Chad Simpson, Chris Simard, and Bob Beltrami all battling it out. Everybody just barely hanging off the wall, coming out of 2. Bob Beltrami makes the pass on Simpson. Now he has Simard in his sights. Simpson battles back. Schlosser down to his inside. Glazer and Schmeier still battling up front here. When we get back towards turn 2, just how close these guys get to that outside wall. See, here they come, coming through turn 2. Andrew Schulte here, Jeff Schmeier, Bentley Glazer. Just how close they get to that wall. That's why everybody keeps just barely brushing it and coming back down through the field. Glazer's still trying to battle Schmeier down to the inside. Schmeier's holding him off just a little bit there. Looks like Schmeier might have got a little bit tight there, slid up the track. Bentley Glazer trying to take advantage. Side by side, they go down that backstretch, but Glazer still can't get by Schmeier. 5 laps to go, 4 as soon as we get back to the start-finish line here. Schmeier cuts the dogleg. Glazer stays up high. Guys have not left each other alone They are very familiar with each other. Like I said, as they're battling it out, Andrew Schulte is driving away. He's got a second lead now over Schmeier. Glazer and Schmeier side by side still. Glazer gets a better run. Looks like the 04's hanging up high. As they come down the backstretch, Schmeier has to get behind Glazer. Chris Sumard pulls even closer to Schmeier now. Glazer is now still about a second back from Schulte. Schulte is coming up on a little bit of lap traffic here. 2 laps to go for Andrew Schulte. White flag this time by. Final lap. We are racing back for checkers here. Andrew Schulte around the lap car. Has almost a second lead over Bentley Glazer. Jeff Schmeier back in third. Schmeier battling out with Chris Sumard and to see if he's going to be able to get P3. And it looks like Jeff Schmeier is going to able to just barely hang on over Chris Sumard for 3. Bob Beltrami in 4th. Matt Schlosser 6th. Brian Barnes in 8th. Andrew Schulte, win number 2 here in the Western States Racing League. Well, this race did not go the way they were thinking it would, but still had a heck of a race. Let's see if we can get Jeff Schmeier here. Hey, Jeff, Mike up in the booth. How's it going? Yeah, it definitely has been a while here. But how was that race? I mean, I know it started off a little rough, but you guys were able to battle through and make the 125 laps here.
Yeah, it was definitely a race of attrition and a lot of pit stops for me, but luckily all these yellows gave me a chance to get back up front, and I was able to stay up front. It was really and good timing too, with Ryan having trouble. So it's gonna be a good championship battle at the end at the next race.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are kind of putting on a show. Each one of you guys are basically, one of you guys has a great race and the other one kind of has a little rough trip, and especially with those drop weeks, it's going to be tight once we get all these points figured for Vegas.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, other than that, man, congrats on the season so far. Anybody you want to thank for your P3 finish?
Of course, I got to thank Dog Bear. We got Bob with the top 5. That's awesome. With Brian and Ryan with a top 10. me and Ryan have been in the same chat room, so it's been fun talking with each other about this championship battle. So, and then of course I got to thank my fan club, my mom, my dad. They just got back from Italy. Hope you had a great time. And then of course my girlfriend and my girlfriend's parents. I just want to say I love you guys.
Awesome. Well, I will let you go get back to celebrating this P3 finish here, and talk to you in a couple weeks with the championship.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you very much.
Bentley, man, that was a heck of a race. You were up front for a little ways and went towards the back, was able to avoid some of those cautions, and still wound up with a P2 finish.
Yeah, it was tough. It was actually a pretty fun race. I kind of wish, we had longer runs there, because I kind of got mixed up on the pit strategy, and track position was real important there at the end.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that. You were able to pitted lap 20 and were able to stay out for quite a ways, and avoid the back half that, the cautions I kept having. You had the mix up pit strategies back there, but was your car relatively tight coming through the field, or how were you able to make your way back through so quick?
The first time, I think they had a little bit older tires, and it was pretty easy to go through. And then the second time, their tires were still all right, so it was really hard. And yeah, it was tight, but I had a really good race with Jeff Schmeier. Hope he wasn't too mad at me. I used the lap car as the pick there at the end, but it was still a fun race.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a fun race you guys were having. I don't believe you're probably going to be in the championship battle this year, but are you looking forward to maybe coming back next year and trying to take back that title?
Big time. And I hope a lot of these guys keep showing up. There's a lot of really fast guys now, and it's a lot harder now. So yeah, I'm really excited for next season.
Definitely. Well, anybody you want to thank before I let you go?
Thank you as always. And thanks to my teammates at OGR, and thanks to Bob, and congrats to Andrew. He's a great driver, so congrats to him.
Awesome. Well, I will let you go, Bentley, and maybe I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Yep. See you then.
Hey, Andrew, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. A lot better than it was earlier.
Well, watching the race and seeing those cautions after you got back towards the front, I'm like, man, this guy has speed, but every time he gets his half second to almost a second lead, caution comes out and you have to restart all over again. What was going through your head for those last few cautions?
It was exactly that. The adrenaline was pumping. I kept trying to play with the restarts so that they wouldn't be able to guess when I was going to go. Especially Bentley. I mean, he was quick. I figured if he was going to be able to get clear of Jeff on one of those restarts, that I was in for a little bit of trouble. Because, I mean, he put a blazing qualifying lap down. And, I mean, he was early on in the race when he had the lead. He opened up a second or so lead within a couple of laps, it felt like. So I think he was the class of the field for sure. I think we got lucky with pit strategy and kind of how the cautions were falling there. So maybe not the fastest car tonight, but just happy to be sitting here in P1.
Definitely second win of the season. Are you and Justin Michael planning on coming back and racing a full season next year?
For sure. So he had found out about, I don't know how he found out about this league, but I've got 2 kids, so works later the races work better for me. And he told me about it. He's, I think, finishing up a different league, and sometimes the races fall where he's able to hop in, but it sounds like he should be joining full time for the next season as well. But yeah, I plan to also.
Definitely. That is going to be one heck of a championship battle next season as we wrap up this season in a couple weeks. Any strategy as you go to Vegas in a couple weeks?
Don't crash and save some tires, and hopefully we can have a similar outcome to tonight.
All right. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to shout out my youngest kid. He turned 1 today, so I want to wish him a happy birthday. Shout out to Patented Paints for whipping up this Patented Paints paint job on the car today. Town Motors and Bandit Motorsports. Want to shout out my teammates, Justin Michael being one of them. And hopefully you guys you enjoyed the race. Hopefully it was I'm excited to watch the broadcast. You guys do a great job of doing that, so we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.
Appreciate it.
All right. So that will do it here for the interviews. Let's go ahead and look at the points to wrap this up here. Andrew Schulte, Bentley Glazer, 1-2. Jeff Schmeier held on for 3rd. Chris Simard, Bob Beltrami round out that top 5. Matt Schlossler, P6. Chad Simpson, Brian Barnes, Ryan Steele. A little bit of a rough week. Rebounded to get P9. Justin Wilkinson in 10th. Wayne Hutchinson, Julian Ricci, Dennis Fuson, Paul Krummerai, Charles Woods inside that top 15. 16th is Earl Weaver, Wayne Fleet, and David Weaver, the top 18. Then we go back to Dustin Burns, James Campbell, Butch Davis, Lyle Swearingen, Barry Phil, Dan Brazington, Justin Michael, Carl Burke, Jeff Hollinsworth, Javier Torres, Timothy Bates, and Brian Van Cleve round out the drivers who started the race. William Fletcher, James Doerr, and Fred Williams did not. So that will do it here from Phoenix as we get set to wrap up season 48 here of the Western States Racing League. They will head to Vegas in a couple weeks in these Xfinity cars, see what type of show they can put on for the championship. Looks like it's going to be a pretty tight race coming down to the wire. So from everyone here at Western States Racing League and Sim Racing Media, I am Mike Damoni, and I will see you guys all next time. Good night.